It's mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Give me a follow on Twitter. I'm at HGrahamNFL. If we don't answer your questions on this video, I'll answer as many as I can on Twitter. So go ahead and follow me and send me your questions. Cland, so what's the difference between Trubisky and Mac Jones coming out of college aside from the schools and systems they were in? Number one, Mac Jones was better coached. Mitchell Trubisky played under a North Carolina staff that was fired a couple of years after he left, and Mac Jones played under Steve Sarkisian, who's a great offensive mind, Nick Saban, who develops talent all across the board. And, outside of that, in terms of strengths and weaknesses, Trubisky, better athlete, Jones, more accurate. You look at the numbers for Mac Jones, 4,500 yards, 77.5 completion percentage, 41-4 TD interception ratio. Obviously, Mac Jones played with more talent, guys. But at the same time, I'm not drafting Mac Jones number 2 overall. Maybe the Niners will take him at 3, which I think that's too rich for him, but the main difference is I think Mac Jones is a more accurate thrower and can progress reads a little bit better than Trubisky. That's something he never really figured out. Jason Howard, I probably missed your thoughts on the infamous QB1 tweet. I thought it was disrespectful toward the loyal Bears fans, knowing it wasn't a popular decision. Thoughts, love your content. Appreciate the super. Subscribe if you haven't, Jason. Tell your friends. We appreciate everybody who subs to the channel. My thoughts are their social team is dumb. I mean, they're tone deaf. Guys, I'm not saying you should it's tough, right? Because you're trying to find that balance of creating excitement but not also being tone deaf. That was clearly tone deaf. Do the video of him signing his contract, that's fine. That teams do that for almost every notable player, but QB1 thing, that's a little weird. Can I make this clear too? I think I mentioned this last week on live. The Bears don't have – this is not an Andy Dalton issue. This is a Ryan Pace and a front office issue. Let's not blame Andy Dalton. It's not his fault the Bears are giving him $10 million to come in and start, okay? That's him taking advantage of a good opportunity. Don't blame him. Blame Ryan Pace. Just wanted to make that clear. Brian May, Kellen Mond, round 2. Let's go. How about no? Say it with me. Don't draft Kellen Mond before day 3. I'll add that disclaimer. If he's there in the 4th or 5th, sure. That's fine with me. Any quarterback on day 3 is fine. I think teams should draft a quarterback every year. That's what the Patriots did forever. Then they'd go flip them for second-round picks. I'm not high on him. I think he played 2 good games in college, and he was erratic the rest of the time. Don't fall in love with the fact that he's big and has a strong arm. I'm just not that interested. King J, hashtag Bears, trade pick 20 for Amari Cooper. Cowboys say no. If A-Rob isn't long-term, then Cooper could have Gallup and Lamb. I think more likely you could trade for Michael Gallup. I think he's more available than Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was a beast last year with, Andy Dalton for 7 games, Ben DiNucci for a game, if you've ever heard of him, Garrett Gilbert. They're not trading Cooper this year. Next offseason, maybe. This one, no chance. Danny Zeff, I think the Bears making the playoffs was a bad thing. If they got ownership to say anything is fine, Pace and Nagy remain. I'm not convinced the team is better, not one bit. Look, I told you at the end of the season that, you should never try to stop winning, but there were some negative consequences to rallying and make the playoffs. Number 1, Ryan Pace stays. Number 2, your draft pick lowers and it takes you out of contention to move up for a quarterback. At least it makes it harder to do so. So, yeah, there were some negative consequences. That being said, if you could do it over again, you should always try to make the playoffs. You should always try to be competitive. So, it is what it is. By the way, they could have still fired Pace. They didn't have to keep him just because they made the playoffs. So, blame the McCaskies. Should the Bears trade up for Justin Fields as Jimmy Drills makes a return to the show? It depends how much it costs. I like Justin Fields a lot. I think he would give this franchise much needed hope, but is it going to cost you 3-4 first-round picks? How high do you have to move? If he gets past Atlanta at 4, then I start getting interested. At that point, I'm getting interested because Cincinnati's not going to draft them at 5, so maybe you could trade with them, or you could trade at 6 or 7 before Carolina at 8. You can't let them get to 8 to Carolina because they'll draft him. Fields has been really good in his 2 seasons at Ohio State. Remember in 2018, he was at Georgia, so these are his 2 seasons for Ohio State. 22 starts, 63 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Really only had about 1.5 games of bad tape. That was against Northwestern last year. The whole game he really struggled, and then Indiana in the second half. Outside of that, he has been stellar. He outplayed Trevor Lawrence in the college football playoff last year, and it wasn't a fluke. He was clearly the better player in that game. I like Fields. I think at times he takes too long to get rid of the football, and his release is slightly slow. I'm not too worried about that part, but if he improves as a read progressor, I'll say, then I think he can be a 10, 15-year starter in the NFL. Pick a quarterback prospect because I think teams are debating between these two right now. Type JF for Justin Fields. Type TL for Trey Lance. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video, so get your votes in, JF or TL. Arrigo Munger, do you think the 49ers are saying that they're taking Max so they can get the Bears to trade up and get more picks? Guys, you don't trade up and then try and get another team to trade up to where you traded to. That doesn't make any sense. So, no, I don't believe that. I think the 49ers have a quarterback in mind, and they moved up to go get him. So I think they'll either draft Trey Lance, Mac Jones, or Justin Fields at number 3 because they believe that Trevor Lawrence is obviously going number 1 and that probably Zach Wilson's going number 2. So they went up to get a quarterback. That is what they did. This is not driving up a draft value from Chicago. Michael Kelly, why don't you like Minshew? It's something I dislike. In fact, I like him a lot. I think he's a great story. I think he's like Andy Dalton. He's a fringe starter. Like, he's okay. He can do some things. I think he could have like a Ryan Fitzpatrick type of career where at times he's a starter and at times he's a backup. But if you think he's saving your franchise, then think again. I wouldn't have minded Minshew trade instead of signing Dalton. I think it would have been about the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, that's really my point on that, is that Gardner Minshew isn't making you a 500 team to an 11-win team. That's my main point. Extremely important question, because it is March Madness, although April is basically here. Who will win the NCAA tournament? It's not going to be Sister Jean. It was a good run for the Ramblers. Let me know what you guys think. Who will win NCAA tournament this year? And if you want to gamble on it, well, why don't you go bet on the Final Four? Chatsports.com/betil, chatsports.com/betin. Bet Rivers. If you're in the state of Indiana or Illinois, you can place your bets on any sport. It doesn't have to be college basketball. It can be NFL draft stuff, NBA. Go bet on the Bulls, whatever it is. Go make some money with Bet Rivers. 100% deposit match. Chatsports.com/betin. Chatsports.com/betil. I know you guys are fired up about the Vucevic trade, so go bet on the Bulls, even though it's been a slow start after trading for him. Harrison Graham's beard. Are we going to go live on the night of the draft? 99.9% chance, yes. I mean, if they trade their first round pick, we probably won't. But unless that happens, then yeah, we'll be live for sure on night 1. Probably day 2 as well. We'll see about day 3. But yeah, the plan is now. Look, Chicago Bears Now is one of our mini channels at Chat Sports. We'll obviously be live on our main channel. We'll pick and choose when we can go live on the other channels. But yeah, we'll be live at some point. Torian Whitfield, by the way, you should subscribe for that exact reason. Should Pace get permission from Don Burr, appreciate the super, and trade up for the Lions' 7th pick to draft a quarterback? Yes, absolutely on that one. So, hey, Don Burr, make it happen. Brandon, Farley at 20 makes too much sense. If you're watching live, stay tuned, Brandon. Pace needs to hit on an aggressive, risky move to have a shot at keeping his job. He's already hit on one injured defensive back. Yeah, Jalen Johnson had shoulder issues coming out of college. Now, we should admit and acknowledge that those issues still remain. He missed the last few games of the regular season, did Jalen Johnson. So it's not like he's been cleared of all that, but Johnson can play. He's got a chance to be a CB1. And Caleb Farley, yeah, he just had back surgery, but that might be a risk worth taking if he falls to number 20. Michael Kelly, call Richard Sherman. Sure. I mean, here's the thing, though. Sherman wants stability. He wants to chase a ring. It's not that the Bears are an extremely dysfunctional franchise. I wouldn't exactly call them stable at the moment, though. Like, you've got a questionable GM. You've got a head coach who's on the hot seat. You've got ownership who probably doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to football. So, and by the way, remember Sherman on Collinsworth's podcast? He co-hosts that with him, had Robinson on, and Robinson was kind of bagging the Bears in that. He kind of got a feel for what the Bears organization is like at the moment, and players trust other players. So, sure, call him, but I don't think he's coming to Chicago. If he does, we'll have a video. Subscribe. Daily videos here on the Chicago Bears. The latest news, rumors, mock drafts, free agency. We cover it all. YouTube.com/Bears Now. Click that link below. Hit that big red button and subscribe. It's 100% free. Jim, is there a second round or later quarterback that is worth the risk of becoming like Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Tony Romo, and Tom Brady? Look, these guys grow on trees. You guys know that. They are everywhere. No, maybe one guy, right? Between Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, Jamie Newman, Sam Ehlinger, Davis Mills, maybe one of those guys becomes a legit starter. But even then, the chances of them becoming one of these guys is like 2%. So, yeah, pretty unlikely if you're not drafting in the first round. Even if you are drafting in the first round, you're talking at about like a 40% success rate. It's very hard to hit on quarterbacks in the NFL draft. A lot of supers today. You guys are the best. May have missed this in a prior segment, but each of the top QB prospects were breakfast cereals. Which cereal would each quarterback be? Golly. Do we have about 60 seconds? Mac Jones, plain Cheerios. Never going to let you down, but the upside is limited. I think that's a good one. Trevor Lawrence, Honey Nut Cheerios. Right? You got the baseline. The floor is pretty high. Stronger arm, more mobile. Chances of being bad are pretty slim. I guess if you leave the box open too long, you never know what could happen. I'll go Honey Nut Cheerios for Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields. Gosh. Frosted Flakes? Kind of depends on the day. When they're good, they're really good. When they've been sitting for a couple of weeks, they're pretty bad. You know what I mean? So I'll go Frosted Flakes for Justin Fields. Trey Lance, a cereal I've never had before. It could be amazing. Blindfold me and I'm trying cereals. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's bad. I don't know. Like it could be amazing. It could be the best cereal I've ever had. It could also be Raisin Bran. So, it's, who knows? It's, and Kellen Mond, worst cereal of all time. So there you go. Who did I forget? Oh, Zach Wilson. What's the most YOLO cereal out there? Cocoa Puffs? Cocoa Puffs? Fruity Pebbles? Hey, just who knows what could happen, right? Like it's a home run. More cereal takes, food takes. Ask the guys in the office. I got strong food opinions. Follow me on Twitter at HGramNFL for more takes around the Bears. Non-sports related. We keep it fun. We keep it real. I nailed those cereal analogies, and I'm going to copyright that. So follow me on Twitter and see what happens.